On this episode of the House of Muscle Extra, we head back to Chile, Ohio, where we bring you our full interview with Nova owner Mike Cosculluela and his automotive tribute to his family and a wonderful time period that's gone, but certainly not forgotten.
Every car guy has spent hours on a cold garage floor looking for tools that he didn't have, breaking a bolt on a header in the middle of the night because you had to drive that car the next morning for work. And you cussed the car, and if I had a nickel for every time I said I freaking hate these cars, I'd be a rich man. Because when you're working on them, you hate them. They will piss you off and let you down. They will take all the money out of your bank account, if you're lucky to have a bank account. But if he can drive an old hot rod that makes him feel 16 again, man, that's worth all the misery that sometimes these cars really give you. It's priceless. Damn it. When you're driving down the street in one of these cars, this is my own personal experience, and it doesn't matter which one, and it doesn't matter which model, but I'll pass a front yard in the neighborhood with small children, 3-year-old that doesn't know a car from a taco stand will drop his toys, and from the sound of a car like this comes down the street, his little jaw drops. He turns around and points and knows that is something cool and different. And when you get that reaction from a little kid, boy or girl, doesn't matter, that's when you know that you've made something that affects someone the way that it affected you. Well, my first car was a 1970 Nova. My father gave to me. Actually didn't give it to me at first. Actually bought it for my mother. It was at a used car lot across from my high school growing up. And every morning going to school on a school bus, I'd see this Nova sitting at this used car lot. And I just would conveniently give my dad some subtle hints. Hey, Dad, there's a really badass looking 70 Nova at this car lot. One day I come home from school and it's in the driveway. Now I'm thinking it's for me, but it wasn't. It was for my mom to drive us to, me and my brothers and sisters, the sporting events and basketball practice and that. She hated the car. My dad started driving it. It broke down all the time. So just one particular day, my dad threw the keys and says, here, this is your piece of crap. Happy graduation, and was the happiest day of my life. As soon as I got the car, I didn't have a driver's license quite yet. Actually, I had wrecked my father's car when I was 16, a 74 Impala. My father had trusted me, like any father would trust their son with the keys to his car. And it was a beautiful 74 Impala. And I wrecked it one night. He took my driving privileges away, but more importantly, he lost trust in me. At least that's what I felt. And when he gave me the Nova before I graduated, I think unconsciously wanted to show him that I could take care of this car. And before I was even able to drive the car, because I didn't have my driver's permit, I used to sit in that Nova and just clean it. The smell of the vinyl. If you were to blindfold me and stick me in that car and I had no idea where I was, I automatically tell. I was probably 16 years old, but I was like an 8-year-old just sawing on the wheel in the driveway and just imagining myself cruising in it and picking up girls or cruising with my buddies or at the drive-in. So that's a memory that I still have, very visceral. Still have that car today. I've owned it for almost 40 years, and that's my first car. I know that when I was a kid, even though these cars mean so much to me now, if I was able to go back 20, 30 years ago, maybe they didn't mean that much to me either. Maybe we just unconsciously went through living our lives and creating memories with these cars. And as we get older, we start to reflect just how important these cars were in our lives and how they affected and molded our relationships. I'm more dimensional than just cars. I mean, I've got other interests and hobbies, and I'm a father and a brother. The car is just such a huge part of my life. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to mean the same thing to everybody. For me, it is who I am. I'm defined by the cars. I'm assuming that most people define me as well. When they say Nova, Mike's coming right after it. I love it.
To watch the full episode, head over to thehouseofmuscle.com. But before you go, make sure to subscribe now so we can keep you updated on new episodes along with everything that is the House of Muscle.